there is no one meaning when we talk about neutrality. Either one you can write or any one you can write. It can be considered apolitical, impartial action. It can be defined as discompassionate and dehumanized action. It can be considered like acting as per conduct rules, superior's order, this or law. So acting as per superior's order or law, whatever the law we have, or let's say we can talk in paper one type, so we can say it like value neutral. Neutrality means a value neutral role of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy should act in a neutral manner. So it was one such fundamental characteristics of bureaucracy or Max Weber bureaucracy, which is followed by most of the countries. Even conduct rules also give emphasis on neutrality, means it has mentioned. Then question comes that why we should have neutrality, or why neutrality is given so much emphasis in bureaucracy. And if neutrality is given so much emphasis in bureaucracy, so the question is that whether bureaucracy has remained neutral. If it has not remained neutral, so why it has not remained neutral, and what are those consequences of lack of neutrality in bureaucracy, and how we can promote neutrality. Then in that also there are many other things related to bureaucracy, like we have written, like we say doctrine of committed bureaucracy. So what is doctrine of committed bureaucracy, and why or how it started, whether bureaucracy has remained neutral, so that also we'll talk. Then conflicts between politics and administration, that also we'll talk. Is it important to keep bureaucracy neutral, or is it important to be neutral or talk about neutrality when there is bureaucracy working in a political context? And recently you know that Rathprabharis and government wanted that bureaucrats should go to people to talk about government programs and schemes in last 10 years, which once again resulted into debate related to bureaucracy and doctrine of committed bureaucracy. And then we'll talk about activism and other aspects. So let's write on this. Neutrality is considered a fundamental characteristics of bureaucracy. Talked by Max Weber, which has been followed by most of the countries. However, it has remained debatable. Whether bureaucracy should remain value neutral or it should become committed to the policy of the government. Neutrality, change in paragraph. Neutrality is one of the most important characteristics which has also been mentioned in conduct rules. Like All India Services Conduct Rules. All India Services Conduct Rules. In fact, neutrality is considered a product of merit-based bureaucracy. Merit-based bureaucracy. Important for efficient functioning of bureaucracy. Efficient functioning of bureaucracy. It has two broad contexts. It has two broad contexts. One, as part of merit and efficiency. And second, a smooth transition in democratic system. A smooth transition in democratic system. In democratic system, that neutrality was given emphasis. Neutrality was given emphasis by Wilson in the context of a spoiled system. A spoiled system. That there was politicization of bureaucracy. Politicization of bureaucracy. Hence, opposite of politicization is neutrality. Opposite of politicization is neutrality. Max Weber also talked about legal rational bureaucracy. Legal rational bureaucracy. That is, bureaucracy cannot be efficient unless it is neutral. Unless it is neutral, that it should be bound by legal rational criteria. It should be bound by legal rational criteria. Change paragraph. Both Wilson and Max Weber were aware. Wilson and Max Weber were aware that bureaucracy was controlled by politics. Politics in a democracy. Bureaucracy was controlled by politics in a democracy. Hence, it should act in a neutral fashion. It should act in a neutral fashion as per rule of law. As per rule of law, or the law guiding its conduct. The law guiding its conduct. Guiding its conduct. Change paragraph. Since in a democracy, Democracy. Governments keep changing. Governments keep changing. Hence, if bureaucracy is not neutral, there cannot be a smooth transition from one government to another government. This legacy belongs to UK parliamentary democracy. Which gave the principle of ministerial responsibility and civil servants' anonymity. Ministerial responsibility and civil servants' anonymity. Hence, UK philosophy of administration also gave emphasis on neutral bureaucracy. Since British administration laid down foundation for Indian civil services. British administration laid down foundation for Indian civil services, especially by Lord Cornwallis. It was a neutral bureaucracy. Hence, bureaucracy has its historical past. With neutrality being a fundamental characteristics. Which has been continued even after independence. Therefore, in nutshell, it can be stated that neutrality means first, apolitical and impartial nature of bureaucracy. Next, a bureaucracy which acts as per law. That is, bureaucracy should not indulge in following activities. First, should not express political views. Should not participate in politics. Should not criticize government. should not criticize government. Government. Next point. Its political rights are restricted. Fourth point. Its political rights are restricted. Restricted. That is, as per All India Services Conduct Rules. As per All India Services Conduct Rules. Conduct Rules. Rule 3 and Rule 5. Rule 3 and Rule 5. Restrict political activities. Restrict political activities. Hence, if any civil servant acts in favor or disfavor of government as per political ideology, it is loss of neutrality. It is loss of neutrality. Neutrality. There is popular saying that a civil servant should know politics. A civil servant should know politics but should not indulge in politics. A civil servant should know politics but should not indulge in politics. Indulge in politics. So basically what we are trying to say, already we have told in past, if we talk about Max Weber, so if you remember Max Weber, we taught in chapter 6, paper 1, isn't it? So there we have told lots of things, legal, rational, bureaucracy, and if you remember Woodrow Wilson, chapter 2, topic 1, isn't it? So we have given lots of emphasis on non-partisanship, why he wanted to establish an efficient administration. So you can see the link. Neutrality has been linked with efficiency, merit. So merit and efficiency, we have, and it is important. Merit and efficiency we need in this case, but let's take that we have democracy. In democracy, government. You know that one government, next government. So there should be change from one government to another government. And there is a transition time. Nowadays it is a transition time going on. From the date of elections, elections announced, elections conducted, results announced, government formed. It can be, let's say that 4 or 5 months. Or it can be even 2-3 months you can consider this. So not 4 or 5 months, so 2-3 months. And you know that in any country, elections would also be conducted by administration. All the operational activities are managed by administration. If administration which is conducting elections, so this administration is not neutral. So what will happen? If administration is not neutral, so democracy will not survive. It is simple. That is how it has happened in developing countries, you know. So you can see what has happened in Chandigarh. So Chandigarh में कुछ और ही गढ़ रहे थे वो, isn't it? Anyhow, so you can see that when those who conduct elections, they are not neutral, so what will happen? Elections would be rigged. When elections would be rigged, so you know what will happen like this. Democracy will not survive. So a smooth transition from one government to another government. And you know how machineries, etc., all these things will find. You can see, you can also observe yourself what are the things which are happening. Situation have gone to a level that now the doubt about electronic voting machines. Even if they may be functioning good, but now people do not have trust, or people lack trust in electronic voting machines. This. So, always free and fair elections, and those free and fair elections, they remain challenging in any democracy. So, democracy will work when first it comes. This means first a government is elected democratically, then it will work. So all those bandobast that you need for bringing, let's say, a democratically elected government demands neutrality. Yes. And if we will not have neutrality, neutral administration, so there cannot be a smooth transition. You can see what happened Trump. Trump refused to accept the results. If you have, let's say, seen past aspects, or if you are aware about those things. So when elections happened last time in US, results were announced, so Trump refused to accept the result initially. And then you know that his supporters moved towards White House. Even they entered in White House. You know this. They entered in White House. The country which is considered as symbol of democracy, and it talks about democracy for other countries. In its own White House, his supporters entered by force. But you should also know one another thing. They were not arrested. They were not beaten. And UAPA charges were not slapped. This you should also understand. This, because it is democracy, people's power. ये नहीं कि UAPA नहीं लगेगा तो lawlessness हो जाएगा, जो हमारे देश में बिकता है मार्केट में. This, कि strict law नहीं होगा तो lawlessness हो जाएगा. उसे भी कोई lawfulness तो है नहीं. Anyhow, so the question is, this is what we'll find, that 2-3 persons recently entered in parliament, you know that, उसके अगेंस्ट UAPA चार्ज लगा दिया. अरे उसको मिठाई उठाई खिलाओ यार, isn't it? अच्छा काम किया है, गया है पार्लियामेंट में बस बताने लोगों को कि पार्लियामेंट कैसे फंक्शन करता है. This, anyhow, बट उसको UAPA चार्ज लगा दिया, जाओ जेल में. This, because we do not love our own people. This is to know that. The more we'll tease to move towards paper second, this is how we'll tease you, tell you we don't love our own people. Yes. So the question is this transition. So suppose Trump, although he then accepted, but suppose he could have taken 2-3 more days. Means he delayed the acceptance of results. What will happen? Crisis. You have to call military. Suppose military gets divided, तो civil war हो जाएगा. So you can imagine neutrality. Right. Many a time neutrality helps survival of a country. This, otherwise country can even disintegrate. That is how neutrality. Yes, that is how it is important. So that is what UK side, let's say, because UK experience evolution of democracy, especially parliamentary democracy. Our first electoral democracy evolved on the land of UK. This. Hence, they also evolved a neutral bureaucracy. Yes. So, neutrality we need for not only efficiency, merit, but also for a smooth transition in democracy from one government to another government. At the same time, it is also important for maintaining stability, order in any society. Loss of neutrality in bureaucracy will create chaos. And you know what has happened in Manipur. Yes. So time and again, we don't have to give examples. History has already so many such examples that even a country has not survived. So if you talk those Asian countries, African countries, Arabian countries, their administration lacks neutrality. That's why democracy has not flourished in their countries so far. Recently, elections also happen in Bangladesh. But you know that elections have been questioned. And the opposition party refused to participate in elections. This. Thanks that we are not like that type of democracy. We are much better. And our elections, etc., as you know that is how you then appreciate level of neutrality. You can see even elections in Pakistan, you can see elections in other such, let's say that developing countries, where let's say that except Africa, you can take Africa, Brazil, other countries lack, let's say that this fairness in elections. And you know that once administration is politicized to that way, there is no return. It takes lots of time. This, we give also example of Afghanistan. For 20 years, US ruled Afghanistan, only to find that it just did nothing for 20 years. Because as soon as it left Afghanistan, you know that even the Afghanistan government cannot fight for 1 week against Taliban. Rather, there is complete surrender. It is just because of politicized administration. Yes, an administration which is highly politicized, that is how we can consider as both need also, challenge also for neutrality. That is what we have to write. So let's try this. Neutrality promotes. Next, let's say neutrality. Neutrality promotes, or it is essential for. It is essential for. Essential for first merit efficiency. Merit efficiency. Next, accountability. Next, stability and order. Stability and order. Next, smooth functioning of democracy. Smooth functioning of democracy. Next, unity and integrity. Unity and integrity. In bracket you can write India is specific. India is specific. India is specific. Change paragraph. Since neutrality is important. Since neutrality is important, it was also given emphasis. It was also given emphasis by first generation leaders after independence, including Sardar Patel. Sardar Patel. Sardar Patel. Evolution of neutrality in India. Evolution of neutrality in India. इंदिरा गांधी. क्या बात. इंदिरा गांधी era type politicization. So all these history etc. we have said. Let's that already you know neutrality. While talking other things, we'll further talk on neutrality. So era, let's say that as we tell that first 2 decades of India after independence, it was more of balanced polity, diffracted society. They were all statesmen, global level leader, national, international stature. And they themselves had standards to establish a democratic polity in which both politics and administration worked in separation and in autonomous manner. So, Sardar Patel once remarked also, ARC second writes in his report that my secretary should give neutral advice. If he does not give neutral advice, I will have him go and appoint a new secretary. That was the statement of Sardar Patel. It is said that both politics and administration worked in neutral fashion. In fact, let's say whatever the legacy today you have of this, we were appreciating free and fair elections. So whatever the legacy today you have, being a military which is highly disciplined, less politicized, not politicized at all. Similarly, being a bureaucracy which was not politicized, that the credit goes to those leaders who ruled for first 2 decades. And they nurtured both, let's say, military and bureaucracy to work as neutral institution. You should know that the military has never interfered in politics of our country. So we established, that is how the credit goes, because there was no military before independence. So you know how they may have established. So the institutions which were established, be it, let's say that other institutions like CAG, UPSC, so Finance Commission, others, so the legacy goes to them, credit goes to them, which we today deride often to those leaders. But credit goes to them who established neutral bureaucracy. But bureaucracy started politicizing, getting politicized during Indira Gandhi time, when she came to power. Hence, she gave the idea that bureaucracy should be committed to the policy of the government. Now, when we talk committed to the policy of the government, this is a thin line dividing being committed to policy of the government or being committed to politics of the government. So when civil servants should go to talk about government programs of 10 years success, Rathprabharis, is it policy commitment or is it political commitment? So that is how it depends on your wisdom, how you judge yourself. So this is what, let's say, that thin line. So there is a thin line when you say that policy committed bureaucracy and politics committed bureaucracy. So therefore, Indira Gandhi, when she told that bureaucracy should be committed to the policy of the government, even if she may have the right intention, she did not intend to politicize bureaucracy, but bureaucracy took it otherwise. The bureaucracy took it otherwise, and bureaucracy started giving political favor in the name of committed bureaucracy or committed to policy of the government. And electoral politics, electoral malpractices started. Bureaucrats were, let's say, campaigning for, let's say, campaigning in elections for Indira Gandhi in Bareilly, you know that, in Uttar Pradesh. And that is how, let's say, Indira Gandhi was charged for this malpractice by Allahabad High Court, and her candidature was cancelled by Allahabad High Court. Because of this malpractice, which became immediate cause for imposition of internal emergency. And that is how, let's say, that one movie was also made in which one song is also there, Jhumka Gira Re Bareilly ke Bazaar Mein. Anyhow, so that is how link between doctrine of committed bureaucracy. Electoral malpractice also started in terms of funding. Corporate sectors were forced to fund for political parties. And then thereafter we have not looked back, Then further you know that things and 1990s come, and that is how you know what happens. So मंडल, कमंडल, रीजनल, जितना जो भी लिखना है आप लिख सकते हो उस समय के लिए. आपके पास जितने भी नेगेटिव एडजेक्टिव्स हैं ऐड कर सकते हैं. So identity based politics, reservation politics, communal politics, regional politics, all these things, and criminalization of politics. nexus, corruption, all these things were highlighted. Although gradually, let's say that coalition politics already started since 1967, and regional parties, state parties started surfacing. So by 90s, they were experiencing their rise, and in that, let's say that bureaucracy was in crossfire. So far, let's say that the good thing was between this or from this is there was one party. So when there was one party, so politicization was not very challenging, because after all, it is one party, and bureaucracy will work if government wants. So it still bureaucracy will work. So politicization was not a serious challenge. But thereafter, you know that so many parties, state parties, and bureaucracy started getting politicized across political lines. Yes. In Uttar Pradesh already you have Bahujan Samaj Party and you have Samajwadi Party and two national parties. In Bihar you have RJD, JDU, etc. This in West Bengal you have Didi and this जो बोलना है आपको अम्मा बोलो दीदी बोलो isn't it mama बोलो so with due respect to it. So the question is that right so basically these political parties cannot be in power without having their own supportive bureaucrats supporting them. This you should know. So no political party can come to power without support of bureaucracy. They need their own. Even if it comes to power, it cannot remain in power without support of bureaucracy. Yes. Because after all, it is bureaucracy which has to run the scene. This is right. This you can say. So regional parties, state parties, they started politicizing their bureaucracy. Yes. And this is how, let's say, it is very clear in various states, if you are Yadav, तो पता ही है कि उत्तर प्रदेश में आपको क्या समझा जाएगा. चाहे आप न्यूट्रल हो या नहीं हो, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है. राइट. यादव मीन्स राइट. सो दिस यू शुड नो दैट. एंड बहुजन समाज पार्टी, तो अगर आप दलित हैं तो क्लियर है कि आप राइट मायावती जी के राइट साथ वाले isn't it? और अगर मुस्लिम्स हैं फिर पूछना नहीं है isn't it? This, और ब्राह्मण है तो वो भी पूछना नहीं है. क्लियर है दिस. सो इस तरीके के परसेप्शंस क्रिएट हो गए. साउदर्न स्टेट्स का मुझे सोशल स्ट्रक्चर इतना ज़्यादा नहीं पता है, उसके लिए मुझे सोशियोलॉजी पढ़ना पड़ेगा. जो कास्ट स्ट्रक्चर होता है उनका काफ़ी थोड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स होता है, या लेस नोन है. जैसे ये तो सीधा है ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय दलित जनते, और वैदिक पीरियड से चल रहा है. सो याद करना आसान है. राइट isn't it? So this is how, but in there also you know that caste, subcaste, etc. You have all these things. So it is the politicization has happened to such a level that you do it means it is written on your face. This, which party you belong to or which party you will give support. This, that you can consider. So this is how it has happened. And the day you become IAS, जिस दिन रिजल्ट आएगा, रिजल्ट पब्लिश होगा, the first person to reach your house will be a politician. Yes, politician of that area. This, and he will talk as if he knows everything about you. This, that is how it is. और जाते जाते अपना वो कार्ड देके जाएगा. Yes. वो इसलिए नहीं आया है आपसे मिलने के लिए, नहीं, वो ये देखने के लिए आया है कि हमारे काम का है कि नहीं. Yes. एंड टॉप रैंक अगर आ गया, यूपी बिहार में तो कोई पूछता नहीं है वैसे, दूसरे स्टेट की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन यूपी बिहार डोमिनेट करता है तो रैंक से कोई मतलब नहीं. बाकी किसी स्टेट में अगर टॉप रैंक आ गया आपका, अगेन द फर्स्ट पर्सन टू रीच इज, और एक ही पर्सन नहीं, जितने पॉलिटिकल पार्टी उस स्टेट में है सब पहुंच जाएंगे आपके यहाँ अगर टॉप रैंक आ गया. और सारे लोग प्रॉमिस करेंगे विल गिव यू ए लैंड, उस स्टेट का जो कैपिटल है वहां पे लैंड प्रॉमिस करेंगे वो आपको. यू आर वेरी हैप्पी, राइट. 4 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज है, चारों प्रॉमिस कर रहे हैं, 4 घर तो ऐसे ही हो गया. अभी तक तो साला घर ही नहीं. बट वो मिलेगा नहीं. So a friend of mine who got 32 rank from Maharashtra, he is in Chhattisgarh, and it was a top rank in Maharashtra that time. So he was promised by all political parties, Nationalist Congress Party, Shiv Sena, BJP, Congress in that state, a land in Mumbai. आज तक उसको नहीं मिला. This is what it is. So anyhow, let's come to point. Basically, coalition era resulted into politicization. How to understand in another way? So let's take Delhi example. Delhi chief minister is himself a ex-civil servant. He does not belong to politics. He does not have political experience. Therefore, he does not know how to work with bureaucracy. That's why it resulted into conflict with bureaucracy in Delhi and alleged slapping of, let's say that, this. It is alleged that he slapped chief secretary. This. Why? Because political, let's say Sheila Dixit, she is a politician, she knows how to work with bureaucracy. But he is a civil servant, he does not know how to work with bureaucracy. Hence, he'll have more conflicts. Why? Bureaucracy is more loyal to central government. Bureaucracy will be more loyal to central government. That's why all India services become bone of contention between union and states, because they are more loyal to central government. As they have worked under central government or a national party for a long duration. This, let's say Congress, then now BJP, they are more, let's say that ki habitual to work in that party rather than a regional party. If a new regional party comes into power, so it will be difficult for that party to go, let's say, go on with a rule with that bureaucracy or work with them, adjust with them, because bureaucracy is not loyal to them. This happens. That's why political parties want that they should have their own loyal bureaucrats. If not at national level, there are many things in execution of policies, then arbitrary actions, corruptions, etc. You know that. And if they are not loyal to you, they will not protect you. Then there are also local elections and others. So there can be several such factors which become basis for parties trying to politicize bureaucracy. Because when a party comes to power, it wants its own favorable people at different positions. You know what has happened when new parties come to power in 3 states? The transfers, we told you how transfers happen. In one day, how the transfers happen. So basically, that political party will try to appoint his own favorable civil servants, or at least compatible civil servants to top positions. This. And that way, gradually, this is how it results into politicization. And that is how it has happened. Like, When there is politicization at a union level, then politicization at a state level is even much more glaring, much more rampant, because chief ministers are more authoritarian than prime minister. This you should know. So, because prime minister तो थोड़ा सन भी करेंगे, isn't it? नेशनल इंटरनेशनल थोड़ा सा बचना होता है, मीडिया है, जुडिशरी उधर चौर साहब है, बोलते रहते हैं कुछ भी, isn't it? So this way, murder of democracy. This. So that is how it is. So the question is that कि नेशनल लेवल पे थोड़ा सा मीडिया होता है और अपना एक अलग स्टैंडर्ड है, अलग ऑरा होता है नेशनल लेवल का. स्टेट लेवल पे कौन देखता है उधर वेस्ट बंगाल में क्या हो रहा है? Yes. That is how chief ministers are more authoritarian than prime minister. Hence they treat bureaucracy like anything. आजकल तो उनका कोई वैल्यू नहीं होता है. Yes. That is how the situation of bureaucracy. And that is how politicization at a state level. Yes. And then bureaucracy has also played its role. Bureaucracy also. It is not that only politicians. Bureaucracy also, let's say, wants favor. As let's say one article was recently written when government talked about Rathprabharis. One article was written in newspaper about Indira Gandhi era doctrine of committed bureaucracy. In that article, it was also written that Indira Gandhi did not want to politicize. Means her intention was to let's have a policy commitment, but bureaucracy took it too far. Right? Bureaucracy considered it more of politicization rather than policy commitment. In bureaucracy also you will find that there are people who want to be politicized, right? Who want to have political favor. They are ready to give political favor for their benefits, for appointments, for promotion, for top positions. You can see that how the top positions you want. And those top positions like one person, one IPS officer from Gujarat cadre. You know that. He is made CBI director. Before that he is made first BSF Director General. Then he is made CBI Director. And then he is made Police Commissioner Delhi. Yes. So this is what we will find out that particular bureaucrat is given so much favor or he is seeking so much favor. Why? Because you know that he was involved in some encounters in Gujarat. Yes. So which gave favor to the government, a particular government. So they are also ready to get politicized. They want to hold top positions. And because of that, let's say that it results two-way process. So we cannot only blame politicians. It is also, let's say, bureaucrats who also want to get politicized. And then the two-tier structure of polity, you can say union and state, that has also played its role. And that is how, let's say, politicization has happened, bureaucracy, to a level that it is said that hardly bureaucracy remains neutral, or let's say that bureaucracy is criticized for loss of its neutrality. When, let's say that many things are done by bureaucracy just by the order of the, you can consider the boss, or you can say the government enforcement directorate, CBI, how they carry out their raids, plus fake encounters are done to make the government happy. You can see that how it happens. This. And in that, let's say similarly, there are many other such case related, be it corruption related or others. Even some programs and policies are implemented, like Swachh Bharat scheme was implemented in one district when Prime Minister was supposed to visit that district. So a district magistrate declared that district open defecation free so that the Prime Minister will come and appreciate him. So data was, let's say, manipulated. He manipulated data to declare district as open defecation free. And that time he was appreciated. Later on it was found that data were manipulated. So this is how you can find that kind of acts by civil servants. And that is what it is criticized. And that is how the situation, you can see many such things which are happening, or you can see how Manipur incident happened, or many other such tension happen, conflicts happen, elections time also will find out how this bureaucracy and loss of neutrality is affecting stability, order, or what we have written. It is affecting merit, efficiency, stability, order, and smooth transition also. This, like many recruitment scams you can find how happens. There are several recruitment scams, or all states have experienced recruitment scams. This, or let's say those who are honest officers, you know how they are shunted out. This. Now, when present government comes to power, this. So let's say that once again after almost after, let's say 2 decades, you can consider 2 decades of coalition politics, we have a single party government. So when we have a single party government, so it will address doctrine of committed bureaucracy problem which happened due to multi-party system. Coalition governments promote politicization of bureaucracy. Why? So suppose you are a political party and you want to support another party to form government, so you would get a cabinet berth, so you would like your secretary to be of your choice. This. So when you would like your secretary to be your choice, so what you will do? And you are not there to serve people, you are there to earn so that next time you come to power. Or if not, so at least secure life of your family for 7 generations. This. इसलिए कि हम लोग एक जनरेशन में तो बिलीव करते नहीं हैं. This. So this is how. So that minister, cabinet, let's say that, is for earning, not for, let's say that, is serving people. And therefore he will tell to his secretary to find out all those mechanisms through which he can earn. This. So a coalition government means politicization of bureaucracy, or a coalition government means government would not exercise effective control on bureaucracy. This. That's why coalition government, nexus, corruption, they have emerged side by side. This. Therefore, the benefit of a single party is this: when the present government is a single party government, so that coalition politics type of politicization of bureaucracy will not happen. And since present government has also taken some reforms, as we have mentioned, let's say that called sparrow, probity, and ability to perform, that integrity as criteria for promotion, it has taken some reforms, also radical reforms. So those reforms have reduced politicization. Yes. It is said that reversal of doctrine of committed bureaucracy. But is it single party politicization? That happened during Indira Gandhi time. So a parallel is being drawn between present level of politicization of bureaucracy, when Rathprabhari and that program was initiated, or you know that 360-degree appraisal and denial of promotion to those civil servants who may have a bit different ideological line, including one IAS officer from Kerala cadre who was a topper of 1995 during 90s time. Means that is how IAS association chairpersons have openly criticized, because they find that some good, means meritorious IAS officers were also denied promotion, and they were not given any, let's say that reason that why they were denied promotion. That's why they question 360-degree appraisal. They have privately argued, and anonymously they have talked that is it that since we do not toe the party line, that's why we are being denied promotion. This. So when you will toe the party line, so you will be given promotion. This. So that is how it is, let's say that also being said. Although The way government has taken reforms, if you talk from positive perspective, it brings reversal of doctrine of committed bureaucracy. But at the same time, it has a risk of politicizing bureaucracy from one party line. That is called what Indira Gandhi time happened. However, politicization at state level remains because no change has happened at state level. Yes. Hence, the debate is that what should be done, what is the consequence, and why it is happening, what are the causes. This is what we have to write, so let's write on this.
So, doctrine of committed bureaucracy is now a negative connotation, but initially, did it have a positive connotation in terms of policy?
Yes, doctrine of committed bureaucracy is used in both ways. We will deal separately. It has positive aspect also, it has negative aspect also.
But largely now we use it
We take it in a negative way, not positive way.
So how to differentiate between the policy commitment and politicization of bureaucracy, or the way it goes simultaneously?
We'll talk separately, let's say. It is very difficult to demarcate a line, but if you want to give any example, so we can give by example. So let's take, when we'll take after this, when we'll separately deal doctrine of committed bureaucracy. There we'll talk it and give example, policy commitment example and politics commitment example. So that way it can become clear. This. So let's write on this. The evolution of neutrality has gone through broadly 4 phases. First, the era of balanced polity. That is, the founders of the Constitution, and those who governed for first 2 decades established and promoted a neutral bureaucracy. ARC second recommends, ARC second states that how Sardar Patel advocated about neutral bureaucracy. In inverted comma, my secretary should give neutral advice. If he does not, I will have him go and will appoint a new secretary. I will have him go and appoint a new secretary. Phase second. Beginning of politicization of bureaucracy. That during Indira Gandhi time, politicization started as she talked about policy commitment policy commitment which turn out to become commitment to politics, known as doctrine of committed bureaucracy. Doctrine of committed bureaucracy. Committed bureaucracy. Next, phase 3. Era of coalition government. Since it also experienced decline of all political standards, as mentioned above, an emergence of state and regional parties, bureaucracy came to be politicized. Across political lines. Hence, doctrine of committed bureaucracy became norm rather than exception. At both union and state levels. Next, 2014 onwards. It is said that there is reversal of doctrine of committed bureaucracy. Because of following two factors. First, emergence of once again a majority party government. Majority party government. A majority party government. Which ends politicization of bureaucracy due to coalition government. Next, the government has taken some radical reforms. Including new criteria for promotion based on ability to perform and integrity. However, it has also faced criticisms that there is doctrine of committed bureaucracy along one party line, that civil servants are denied top positions, if they do not toe party line, toe party line. Yes, TOE. Do not toe party line. Like criticisms of 360-degree appraisal. Criticisms of 360-degree appraisal. 360-degree appraisal. And recently, Rathprabhari initiative. At the same time, doctrine of committed bureaucracy remains a norm at state level. As state governments led by state and regional parties appoint to sensitive positions their own favorable officers. Next, some manifestations of loss of neutrality. Are as follows. First, nexus corruption and quid pro quo. Next, frequent posting transfers and transfer of officers after elections when new government is formed. Next, officers those who have been upright, honest and have acted in neutral fashion have been punished through harsh posting and denial of promotion. Durga Shakti Nagpal, Ashok Khemka, Prabhakar Chaudhary, Ashok Lavasa, Next, civil servants themselves seek support or give support. Civil servants themselves seek support or give favor to political parties. Give favor to political parties. Parties. There are also some activist civil servants. There are also some activist type of civil servants. Activist type of civil servants who try to make government happy. Make government happy, or a particular party happy. Particular party happy. Some of them also quit and join politics. Some of them also quit and join politics. Join politics. Next, when some incidents happen, like protests, conflicts, riots, some civil servants work in a partisan manner. Some civil servants work in a partisan manner, like recent Manipur violence. Recent Manipur violence. Next, anti-corruption institutions and investigating agencies. Anti-corruption institutions and investigating agencies. CBI, Enforcement Directorate, Anti-Corruption Bureau, Criminal Investigation Department, etc. work with political favor. That Supreme Court once remarked CBI as caged parrot. Supreme Court once remarked CBI as caged parrot. Yes. So there are enough such examples which you can talk that how bureaucracy, you know that at times become or it loses its neutrality. Yes. That is how we say spineless bureaucracy, TN session talking. Right. So when TN session told this so let's write causes of loss of neutrality. Causes of loss of neutrality. Now, by the way, why neutrality has declined? What do you think?
Now, since there is development and collaborative governance, it also demands demands it to be backed by wisdom as well, which has a positive influence. But nexus and corruption, and as we talk about this tireless bureaucracy, has turned into a negative thing. But if we need development and we need collaborative governance, so neutrality has to be backed by other.
By the way, do you think bureaucracy is neutral? आप क्या सोचते हैं?
To some extent it is, and to some are it's a debatable.
The persons can't be politically neutral anyone. Expecting that
फिर सारा डिबेट ही खत्म हो गया. It is not possible to be neutral. No, we will come to that point also.
Always have some ideological differences. It is not possible that they are neutral.
फिर वो ओथ क्यों लेते हैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का?
That was a formality.
फॉर्मेलिटी. अच्छा, ठीक है. मान लो यूपीएससी भी बायस्ड हो जाए तो क्या कहोगे आप? नो, यूपीएससी नो. तो सपोज यूपीएससी इज नॉट आल्सो न्यूट्रल, फिर क्या होगा? cycle. This. Yes, certainly we are not talking absolute. Perfection we are not talking. Perfection, let's say any society can never be perfect. जब सोसाइटी परफेक्ट हो जाएगी तो हम लोग काफ़ी कॉम्प्लेसेंट हो जाएंगे फिर. Isn't it? This. The society will never become perfect. This you should understand. So we need to, let's say that work on this continuously. And anyhow.
So as this said that government works and like there is a coalition government. So fast post system is there. Then that may be one reason that neutrality is not there.
See, first thing is that there is decline in standard of politics. Yes. So, since political standards have declined, all other standards are less important. This. Because it is the political standard which can protect bureaucracy. Yes. So, this is most important factor. In any country, if political standard is there, it protects bureaucracy. And if that political standard is not there, so it politicizes bureaucracy. Then it depends on the wisdom of the civil servants whether they would be politicized or not. Yes. If you see the first 2 decades, so there was political standard. This, and that political standard, you can see this, protected bureaucracy. That is how it established neutral bureaucracy. और अगर आप लॉर्ड कॉर्नवालिस को आप कितना भी जूते चप्पल मारो, से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? सॉरी टू से दैट. आप कुछ भी बोल लो, बट दे विल बी गिवन क्रेडिट फॉर ए मेरिट ब्यूरोक्रेसी. बहुत सारे जो रिवर्स में हिस्ट्री लिखते हैं, वो लोग ये बोलते हैं कि अगर ब्रिटिशर्स नहीं होते तो इंडिया यूनाइटेड कभी होता ही नहीं. This you should also understand. The counter history or counter view of the history. This, इसलिए कि इंडिया जैसे मान लो स्टेट लेवल पे रिक्रूटमेंट देखो क्या होता है. This, टेल मी इन एनी एरिया वेयर यू मेंटेन स्टैंडर्ड, जिसका मेरिट स्टैंडर्ड बोला जाता है, जहां है वहां भी आप डिस्ट्रॉय कर रहे हो दिस। तो इसीलिए जो काउंटर हिस्ट्री लिखता है वो ये बोलता है कि अगर वो नहीं होते तो ये भी नहीं होता। Anyhow, the question is that, but let's keep that's a different part. Political standard, you can say, decline in political standard. Then there are other factors you can consider. It is coalition government, you can say, that has happened. Then identity-based politics, regional politics, communal politics. आप देखते हैं वो पॉलिटिक्स में क्या हो रहा है। मतलब पॉलिटिक्स का कोई प्रिंसिपल नहीं है। नीतीश कुमार जी कभी इधर है कभी उधर है, राइट दिस। और इधर क्या नाम है, लोकदल, क्या नाम है इधर। जब इलेक्शन आता है तो भारत रत्न दिया जाता है, नया तरीका है, अच्छा है। चलो कुछ लोगों को तो रत्न मिला, भारत भले न मिले। Isn't it? So that is what it is. Now just election is so near, isn't it? तो भारत रत्न दिया गया। हो सकता है कि कांसीराम को भी मिलेगा एंड मुलायम सिंह को भी मिलेगा, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द इक्वेशन इन उत्तर प्रदेश एंड डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट। टाइम में कितना गैप है दिस। एनीहाउ, तो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी जब पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का कोई स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है तो आपको लगता है कि जब वो गवर्नमेंट में होगा तो उसका कोई स्टैंडर्ड होगा। आपको तो वो गाजर मूली के जैसे ट्रीट करते हैं, सॉरी टू से दैट, ब्यूरोक्रेसी। और आजकल तो वो धमकी देते हैं, गाली देते हैं, बहुत ही अनपार्लियामेंट्री लैंग्वेज यूज करते हैं ब्यूरोक्रेसी के लिए। यस, इसलिए कि उनका कोई स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है। This next, that in past politicians were also educated, they were also highly educated people, rather ki educational background remained more or less same of bureaucracy and politicians. This, and they had their, let's say, studies in political science, economics, philosophy, law. This will find this. So that way nowadays you will find that 43%, let's say, politicians, let's say, member of parliament have already different types of merit. This, so their background you will find this there. They will not have respect for, let's say, principles, law, let's say, constitution, because they have broken it. This, those who have broken constitution, they will not have respect. So this you can say their own background, you can say criminalization of politics, you can say. Then let's say कि politics based on power, मतलब आज के डेट में पॉलिटिक्स का मतलब होता है पावर। जो पावर देगा हम वहां जाएंगे। दिस, तो अगर आप किसी पार्टी में हो और आपको दूसरे पार्टी में कोई सीट मिल रहा है, कोई कैबिनेट बर्थ मिल रहा है, मिनिस्टर मिल रहा है, तो दिस इज हाउ corruption. So all these can be summarized into one called declining the standard of politics. Yes, you know Vajpayee told in parliament this कि सरकारें आती और जाती रहेगी। This you should know that. That is called standard of politics, and it is called last standard of politics. Yes. So that is how, although we also know ecology of administration, it is the ecology of administration, it is the politics which sets the tone and temperature. This, that is what we can say, coalition politics, regionalism, other things we can consider. Next is corruption. At the same time, declining values in civil services, in particular, and in society in general. जैसे आप सिविल सर्वेंट्स पे देख लो ना, कैसे क्या होते हैं आप, राइट, दैट वो ज्वाइन करते हैं सिविल सर्वेंट्स और दिन भर सोशल मीडिया पे रहते हैं। दिस, अरे सोशल मीडिया पे ही रहना था तो क्यों ज्वाइन किया, राइट। आप 24/7 आवर्स रहो ना सोशल मीडिया पे, छोड़ दो दिस, एंड wherever you go you have, let's say, over your head a camera fix किया है, पता नहीं कैसे किया गया है fix, right? So wherever you go there is a camera. Are you so important? This larger than life, this is how I find this. अभी भी हमारे देश में स्पीच ही दिया जाता है, अरे एक्शन कब होगा? जिसको देखो वही स्पीच ही दे रहा है, मैं भी दे रहा हूं क्या स्पीच? Right. So that is all fine, right? So this is what you'll find is all sort of thing. Although I don't believe in giving speeches, all these things. So the question is, what is their value? Their values, you know that. Okay, what will be their values when they are so much on social media? और अब तो एक नया तरीका चला है, isn't it? सिविल सर्वेंट हो जाओ, फिर सोशल मीडिया पे आओ और पहले फ्री में लोगों को गाइड करो, ठीक है? जब लोगों का वेल विशर बन गया, अरे फ्री में पढ़ाएंगे, फ्री रिसोर्सेस, isn't it? He's this and that, isn't it? Right. उसके बाद पता चला कि क्विट सिविल सर्विस, एंड कल से पेड हो गया। Right. This is how. So, and पहला लेक्चर एथिक्स पे है। ठीक है, अच्छा है। Anyhow, the question is, this is what it decline, let's say that. So civil servants also, let's say, they may not be politicized, but it is declining standard, declining values, declining standards. We'll find this on their side also, you can say, overall. And then next call it is globalization, liberalization, privatization, giving opportunity for all sort of crony capitalism. That they have further declined the values because money has become more important over any other things. These are some factors we can talk. Let's write on this.
So is it right to say that first past the post system or the coalition government should be removed?
No. We should not go in details of electoral system. Rather, we should talk decline in political level. What you are saying is a bit going in more details and telling the flaws of democracy. Like say first past post system. Yes, it is flaw. Because first past post system में अगर आपको 20% भी vote मिलता है तो you are declared winner. And you are representative of people. How can you be representative of people by 20% vote? This, हर वो 20% vote आपको आसानी से मिल जाएगा, क्यों? कास्ट, जिस कास्ट से आप होते हैं, जहां तो लेट्स से बाल्कनाइजेशन ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज, आईआईटीज लोग एक्सपर्ट्स होते हैं, उनको हायर किया गया, isn't it? और सारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी को बाल्कनाइज किया गया। किस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में कौन कास्ट है, कौन रिलीजन है, किस तरह के लोग हैं, एंड देन उस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में उसी तरीके का कैंडिडेट वहां आएगा। That is how all these coalition etc. So हिंदी में बहुत ही गलत गाली देके बोलते हैं डेमोक्रेसी का। सॉरी टू से आई विल नॉट स्पीक। दिस इज हाउ फाइन। सो आप उसको पाते हो डेमोक्रेसी, बट ये डेमोक्रेसी नहीं है। यू आर लेट्स से दैट कि बाल्कनाइजिंग इट इन द नेम ऑफ कास्ट, और कल जाके पार्लियामेंट में क्या क्या नहीं भाषण देंगे, राइट? सच लॉफ्टी स्पीचेस गिवन इन द पार्लियामेंट, दिस, एंड यू आर डूइंग जस्ट अपोजिट। सो दैट इज हाउ यू विन इलेक्शंस। This is the flaw of first past the post system, and you need to remove it, but you don't have other options. Proportional representation you cannot follow, so You have to follow this. There are suggestions, but it is not part of our syllabus. Suggestions have been given by some experts what we should do. But those suggestions are very radical that you will not implement. That is how. Anyhow, let's write causes. First, decline in standards of politics. Standards of politics. Which include within that first, politics based on power. Next, opportunism, political opportunism. Next, defection politics. Defection politics. Defection politics. Next, criminalization of politics. Criminalization of politics. Politics. Next, electoral malpractices. Electoral malpractices. Next point, separate. Coalition politics. Coalition politics. Especially at state level. Especially at state level. State level. Next. Parochial and subject political culture. Parochial and subject political culture. Culture. In bracket you can write communalism, casteism, regionalism. Communalism, casteism, regionalism. One day we'll teach you political cultures, you'll understand. Next, declining standards of moral values in society. Moral values in society in general and in civil services in particular. In civil services in particular. Next, globalization, liberalization and privatization, which have created crisis in governance. Crisis in governance due to crony capitalism. Crony capitalism. Crony capitalism. Next, lack of protection to honest and neutral officers. Lack of protection to honest and neutral officers. Honest and neutral officers. Neutral officers. Next, federal polity. Federal polity with three-tier structure. Three-tier structure. Decline next. Decline in quality of lawmakers. Quality of lawmakers due to educational background. Due to educational background. Same paragraph. Problems of lack of neutrality. Problems of lack of neutrality have been also highlighted by reform commissions. reform commissions, including ARC second, However, there is also a counter view. That it is difficult to remain neutral. Let's say counter view or there are thinkers who reject idea of neutrality. That first, neutrality also makes civil servant. Civil servants indifferent, irresponsive, and complacent. Next, neutrality conflicts with morality and ethics. As neutrality demands action as per law rather than wisdom. Next, in the era of good governance, transparency, accountability, social justice. Transparency, accountability, social justice. Bureaucracy should be compassionate. Rather than neutral. Aristotle considers human as social and political animal. Next point. Aristotle considers human as social and political animal. Hence, human has also political aspirations. Then the question is, can human be politically neutral? Nehru also criticized neutrality. Neutrality results into fossilization of bureaucracy. Indira Gandhi talked about committed bureaucracy. there is also an anonymous view that Hitler bureaucracy was right. Hitler bureaucracy was right in execution of order. If the concept of neutrality is applied. If the concept of neutrality is applied. अब क्या करें? We'll come to that. Irresponsive means kisi neutrality. The neutrality means ki suppose law. If law says something, so they act. If law does not say something, so they do not act. So even if situation is demanding to act, but since law is not saying you to act, you remain neutral. So you become irresponsive to the situation. This. So that way we can say this. Similarly, let's say, then it results into complacency. Then it is called an act of indifference, a nonchalant attitude. This. So suppose there are plights of people, but law say that it is not your role. I know that their people are suffering, so you are not supposed to act. Yes. So law and rules we can consider. Many a time it makes irresponsive to the situation. That is how law and rules promote status quo. Yes, because law and rules are old. They are not necessarily related to the present situation. This. So, this way, let's say that ki Manrega, let's take simple example. Manrega you have, it says ki 100 days job should be given. अब now 100 days job होगा तभी तो आप दोगे ना जॉब, और जॉब होने के लिए आपको एक्ट करना पड़ेगा, थोड़ा सा एक्टिव होना पड़ेगा. अब आप एक्टिव हो या नहीं हो इसके लिए कोई पनिशमेंट नहीं है. आप बोलोगे कि जॉब नहीं था तो जॉब दिया नहीं. तो you think that कि 100 days job people should get, and suppose the area you are posted and you are responsible to give job, so you find that कि job is not available. So you can simply write a report कि job is not available, hence nobody was given. There is no punishment. Yes. But spirit says that you should generate job. Right. Why we are saying UP, Bihar do not generate employment in Manrega. The Bihar people go to Kerala and Tamil Nadu to work under Manrega. You should know this. Right. Bihar people go to Kerala and Tamil Nadu to work under Manrega. इसलिए कि जॉब ऐसे ही थोड़े जनरेट होगा. You have to become active, na? Your machinery should become active. Then you will generate job. This. That is how, whether you are active or you are passive. Or I asked once Bibho Goel, now less known name, says same batch, you can say Prince Dhawan time. He is also now district magistrate in West Bengal. So he got his time sociology public ad optional. He got public ad 334 around, but jab 600 hota tha. And in sociology he got 393, 94 around, highest that year. He BTech background, by the way. Right. So that time, the once we had talked, so I asked how much busy you are. He says it depends on you, sir. How much you want to keep yourself busy. So he told there are 3 types of civil servants. Right. One who take pain and they are always busy. Right. One who keep balance, let's say. Balance मतलब थोड़ा busy रखते हैं, थोड़ा let's अपने के लिए time देते हैं. And third one is confined to the bungalow, isn't it? This. So this is how it is. So अगर आप फील्ड में जाओगे तो गवर्नमेंट थोड़े बोलेगी कि आपको 1 महीने में 10 दिन फील्ड में जाना है. गवर्नमेंट ने तो बोला नहीं है. Which area you will go and work, it depends on you. It is your wisdom. Yes. So you can be active and you will not go. You can be just confined to your office. Yes. That is also, and you can keep clearing files. So that is also, so that is how neutrality, let's say. Law does not say that, because law will not say it. This is what it is indifferent. So neutrality, negative fallout is indifference. This irresponsiveness, and let's say that complacency culture. Next point we have told is? Yes. इस पे तो question भी है. We'll ask. Very interesting question. But separately we'll take it. जब न्यूट्रली होना है तो फिर मोरालिटी इंटीग्रिटी कैसे होगा? Because morality and ethics demand application of wisdom. और आप बोल रहे हैं कि don't apply your mind. Act as per law. This, yeah, Max Weber told, act as per legal rational. Act as per law. As if the law is itself rational. This. That is how, let's say, law. Act as per law. This. That is how law action. And many a time acting as per law may not necessarily result into rational action, right action. This. अगर ऐसा ही है तो Hitler bureaucracy was also right. It should be appreciated. Because it executed the order of the boss in a very efficient manner. Yes. This is how one person has told like this. कि अब जब order ही execute करना है bureaucracy को, does not have to apply mind. So for what you talk morality and integrity? Or let's say public interest. Or let's say that कि constitutional values you talk. So why we have those constitutional values? This, which will a bit talk separately also कि why it is and how it is. Let's, whether Max Weber are right or not. Next point is? Yes, then others also argue कि आप बात कर रहे हो आजकल good governance के. No, good governance, social justice, compassion, emotional intelligence, ethics paper में, isn't it? और क्या क्या है values, foundational values of civil services, tolerance, right? Objectivity, sympathy, empathy, this compassion. How there can be compassion and neutrality both going hand in hand? Yes, can bureaucracy remain neutral? And we told you one day that Modi ji says that become outcome oriented. This, and here you are saying become law oriented. So bureaucracy to confuse हो जाएगी. That is how it is. Next point is, then आते हैं Aristotle साहब. This human is social animal. तो social animal है तो उसको society चाहिए. और political animal है तो political aspiration होगा ही. And already your political aspiration is grown before joining civil services. Hey, because being a human, being a citizen, isn't it? So your political aspiration is already grown. You have your political aspirations, not if not to join any party and have a party, but to support a party. This. And that is also a democratic right. It is recognized by democracy. It is recognized by constitution. This. And you exercise right to vote. How can you exercise right to vote without having political aspirations? So once you have political aspirations, so can you be neutral? This, that is how they argue. This. Then, is there any other point? Then others have also told, even Nehru has told, right? Even Paul Appleby also told in Big Democracy. All act of administration means politics. But what politics he was talking, we have to understand that politics. Anyhow, but he says all act of administration means politics. This. So these are counter views. So can we justify that views? Can we say yes, then is it possible? Does it mean that neutrality is not possible? Does it mean we should not talk neutrality? No. What do you think? Fossilization means becoming dead. Mind becomes dead. Any live, let's say any plant becomes fossilized, becomes dead. No, biology में पढ़ा होगा ऐसे. Right. This. So, things are not pros and cons type. Right. इतना आसान होता तो फिर इसलिए जीएस का आंसर आसान है. Pros, cons, way forward. That is all. But things are not that simple, just to have pros and cons. Things are always nuanced, let's say, or we say always complex. That is how we have to understand. So, both sides are not completely right. Means, adherence to neutrality is important, but at the same time, you have to be also moral and ethical. One cannot be at the cost of another. This you can say. But adherence to morality and ethics does not mean that loss of neutrality. And it is possible to remain neutral. इसलिए कि सिर्फ यही दो लोग नहीं हैं, बीच में कांट साहब भी आते हैं. Immanuel Kant. This. So he will say selflessness is the moral duty. The Nolan Committee ने बोला. Yes. It is a moral command to be neutral, selfless. This, the selflessness is a moral command. It is a duty. This, as a human. This, now, you as a human want to be selfless or biased?
Depends on individual. Depends on individual.
No, but let's say whether you want to be, which type of person you want to be? Selfless. Forget about this. Whether you want to be a neutral and impartial administrator or you want to be a partial and partisan officer. Yes. Decide नहीं किया है, फिर कल पूछते हैं. See.
बायसनेस होना ज़्यादा न्यूट्रलिटी को प्रमोट नहीं करेगा क्योंकि हमें पता रहेगा क्या चीज़ सही है तो हमें उसके प्रति टिल्ट होना चाहिए. अगर हमें पता है वो चीज़ सही है, हमारा बायसनेस उसी तरफ.
बायसनेस पॉजिटिव हो सकता है, जिसको पॉजिटिव डिस्क्रिमिनेशन बोलते हैं. बट बायसनेस डज नॉट मीन प्रेजुडिस्ड, unfair treatment. This we have to understand. So human is not only social animal, political animal. Aristotle ने ही बोला था तीसरा वाला. Human is also ethical animal. This. So ethical animal, and they gave emphasis on virtue, ethics. That is called character building. Good character. अरे कल ही बोला था हम लोग ने, कैरेक्टर इज द वर्च्यू ऑफ सिविल सर्वेंट. तो थिंग्स आर लिंक्ड, मीन्स थिंग्स आर नॉट दैट सिंपल कि आपने किसी थिंकर का कोई व्यू कोड कर दिया और वो व्यू हो गया, ऐसे नहीं होता है, राइट. So broader aspect, if you see, broader ways the same, they are also aware about this. So if when Nehru says it is fossilization, does not mean कि he say politicize कर दो. Basically they are saying कि you remain neutral, but at the same time, as per situation, if situation demands, so you should apply your wisdom. Yesterday we told that who would guard the guardians. This. The things are not that simple, things are complex. Now, Max Weber did not deal much details because a person, you cannot expect child to behave like father. Means, a person is not supposed to deal each and everything when he formulates a theory. And that time, bureaucracy did not face such challenge. The role of bureaucracy was to maintain stability and order. Still, when you have to maintain stability and order, you cannot do without neutrality. Still neutrality is important. But neutrality has its limitation. Neutrality has limitation. That is how it will be also highlighted by Kant. Like Max Weber say, legal rational. The legal rational means that law you have considered as perfect. That's why if you act as per law, the law is flawless, your action is also flawless. But the law can never be flawless. Law can have its own problems. And law should be reformed. If, let's say that law you have enacted on a particular date, this here, and then you are, let's say, passing through certain juncture time like this, and then gradually law starts losing its relevance, and to here you amend it, gradually your action as per law is not going to be right. Because law you cannot amend time, let's say that just day-to-day basis. You amend law after certain duration. But law may have started losing its relevance. But a threshold has not been achieved, so that we can amend it. So when threshold has not been achieved, but you know that law is not that much relevant, and you do not amend, so you act as per law. And when you act as per law, so your action cannot be rational. Second thing, Max Weber did not, that time also we may have highlighted, he presumed that those who would issue order, they are noble people. Right. They will issue order as per rule of, right. And those who are issuing order, right. So those who are issuing order, they are such, you can consider that how they are, and they are not issuing order as per law. So how your action can be rational? Plus, your main aim is not to maintain stability and order. Justice, social justice, development, change, innovation. So you have to also take decisions which can be, let's say, very risky. And many a time, many situations may not guide you. Then what you should do? This. First, whether you should wait for commission of offense, then you should act, or let's say you should be proactive. This. So that is how, let's say that there are very thin lines or very finer lines, let's say that. So action, let's say, of a civil servant, so we cannot say, the way it is being said, this means government may not be able to achieve its aspirations and objectives that it set when he say that we have to bring development and transformation without help of bureaucracy. So bureaucracy will have to commit to the policy of the government. This, it is clear. You should commit to the policy of the government. But it is your wisdom which should decide whether you are committed to the policy or you are committing to the politics. So you have to draw that line. You have to draw that line, that whether the line is related to committing to policy or where that line crosses, and you go to the politics. So ultimately civil servants will have to apply their wisdom, and when they have to apply their wisdom, so they should have wisdom. It means we need to build good wisdom. We need to hire good people, those who can have wisdom of this understanding. Neutrality, morality, public interest, ethics, policy commitment. This is what the complex aspect of this. And that is how it has been told that neutrality is relevant. This is why we should adhere neutrality. At the same time, civil servants are given discretions. Max Weber was against discretion, but conduct rules give discretions. You do enjoy discretions. So even if we have neutrality concept, conduct rules have also given you discretions. Yesterday we told you that Kantians work as a guide. So when conduct rules are not working as a guide, then in that situation you have discretion to act as per your conscience. So discretions are given to civil servants. Discretions are important for innovation. Innovation may not come without discretion. That you can say. And then Paul Appleby has also given concept of committed bureaucracy means policy neutrality, program neutrality. Two types of concept he has given. ARC second has also given why there should be neutrality. ARC second logics, that is, suppose election commission is not neutral, UPSC is not neutral, then what will happen? And I will tell you, today or tomorrow you will realize, you may not realize also, it is not necessary. that you should remain impartial. Otherwise you will have moral guilt feeling, not today, towards end of life. Because towards end of life you go for all analysis of what you did in your life, isn't it? So whether you worked as a good administrator, you have given justice, or ethics में बोला जाता है, do not do unto others as you won't be done by. अगर आप कह रहे हो कि न्यूट्रल होना ठीक नहीं है, मतलब ये फॉर्मेलिटी है, तो ये सबके ऊपर अप्लाई होता है, आपके ऊपर नहीं. तो डॉक्टर आपको जो होगा फेक मेडिसिन दे देगा, वो क्यों रहेगा भाई? मेरिट पे क्या काम करेगा वो? Isn't it? तो ऑपरेट करना था इधर वाला किडनी, कर दिया इधर. वो भी तो वही काम कर रहा है. So हर आदमी जब गलत काम करेगा. This is what you have to understand. When we start thinking about the society, how a society should be established, so ultimately you will come to this decision that we need to have certain moral standards, and neutrality is also a moral standard for civil servants. That's why the society or countries which have neutral bureaucracy, they will have a stable society. So Western societies have relatively high incidence of neutrality in their bureaucracy, and developing countries have less incidence of neutrality in their bureaucracy. That's why often they face chaos, because from each and every, from a police person to district magistrate to secretary to anyone, let's say that each decision taken by them is test of neutrality. And that is how we can summarize. So let's write on this. However, neutrality cannot be understood. Neutrality cannot be understood by pros and cons views, pros and cons views, rather it has complex rather there is complex perspective. Rather there is a complex perspective that first, it is possible to remain neutral. It is possible to remain neutral, and it is essential for bureaucracy to be neutral. It is essential for bureaucracy to be neutral. Next. But at the same time, bureaucracy should also be moral, ethical, and compassionate. Moral, ethical, and compassionate. Change paragraph. That is, Max Weber may not be able to deal with. Max Weber may not be able to deal with the emerging changes which limit the application of neutrality. That is, the contemporary changes demand bureaucracy to become first compassionate, next humanized, next innovative and outcome driven, next promote social justice, Change paragraph. These are value laden concepts. But neutrality is a value free concept. However, both are not conflictual. Rather, bureaucracy should apply both principles. That on the one hand, it should remain neutral. On the other, it should be compassionate. Change paragraph. Even conduct rules like All India Services conduct rules. Mention both values, neutrality and compassion. ARC second has also supported concept of neutrality. Concept of neutrality. Concept of neutrality. It's a subheading. Not all bad with neutrality. Not all bad with neutrality. Not all bad with neutrality. But even if there is criticism, that Indian bureaucracy has lost neutrality. Indian bureaucracy has lost neutrality. Lost neutrality, but still, it cannot be said that it has completely lost neutrality. It has completely lost neutrality. Rather, following facts have been found. First, when bureaucracy is politically empowered, it acts in neutral manner. Next, when it is given autonomy, like during elections, it enjoys autonomy. Under the helm of Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India. That's why elections are conducted free and fair. In a biggest democracy. In the world. Democracy in the world. Next, during coalition era, 1989 to 2014, even if India was politically unstable, but administratively it was stable. Due to neutrality of bureaucracy. In crisis-like situations, including COVID crisis, generally bureaucracy does outstanding job. Next, the institutions, the CAG, Election Commission of India, UPSC, Election Commission of India, UPSC, and CVC are efficient and independent, also due to neutrality in bureaucracy. Therefore, Neutrality depends on also not only work culture, but also political empowerment. That when bureaucracy is given autonomy, it does work in neutral fashion. That World Bank has appreciated neutrality of bureaucracy, especially district magistrates who still play linchpin in Indian administration, linchpin, 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 Indian administration. मतलब थोड़ा पॉजिटिव भी होना चाहिए, isn't it? सब कुछ नेगेटिव नहीं है, नहीं तो आप सैड हो जाओगे, isn't it? तो भी पॉजिटिव भी है, नेगेटिव भी है, बट दैट डज नॉट मीन कि पॉजिटिव है तो सब कुछ इट इज नॉट दैट कि इफ देयर आर पॉजिटिव सो प्रॉब्लम्स आर नॉट देयर. Rather we have to talk the positive side also. This and this way we can consider positive things. Anyhow, let's try this. Concept of doctrine of committed bureaucracy. Concept of doctrine of committed bureaucracy. The term has earned negative connotation. Negative connotation, representing politicization of bureaucracy. However, representing politicization of bureaucracy, however, its origin is related to positive connotation. Hence, the term can be used for both positive and negative connotation. That during Indira Gandhi time, committed bureaucracy was used by the Prime Minister for policy commitment. It means Policy commitment, it means bureaucracy should be committed to policy of the government. Bureaucracy should be committed to the policy of the government. Policy of the government. That is, the bureaucracy should show complete devotion, dedication and commitment to effectively implement policy of the government, policy of the government once policy is formulated by the government. Once policy is formulated by the government. Rationales. First, development administration. Next, socio-economic backwardness. Next, social justice in bracket from today's perspective. Change paragraph. Demand an active role of bureaucracy. Rather than neutral one. Since society has development deficit, and government has heavy dependence on bureaucracy. It cannot play a neutral and status quo role. Rather, it should be dedicated and committed, and then policy can be effectively implemented. This view can also be justified. And it is needed for developing countries as they are still in transition. Paragraph. Governments take many radical decisions. Including present government, which demand radical approach in implementation. That's why policy commitment is supported from positive perspective. Are you able to understand? See, so this is also concept of civil services activism, which we'll talk separately, but by the time we'll be finishing its content. So activism we talk civil service. So you cannot have a neutral bureaucracy. Let's say Max Weber was talking neutral bureaucracy in a country where it was, let's say, developed. And their development came through either corporate sector. Our society is highly, let's say, like aapne bhi to, why you want to join bureaucracy? You have something to do. Right. You have in your mind something to do. So when you want to do something, so what is that something? It demands involvement. Already you are involved. Your mind is involved, your thinking is involved. Even you are not civil servant, but you are already involved in those problems and issues of the society. This. And then let's say that the government is taking all those policies and programs. We have development administration, development planning, we have socio-economic backwardness, and administration is the main instrument even if we have private sector. Still administration plays a big role in changing the life of people. This. Market has its own limitations. Civil society is not still well grown. So still government is heavily dependent on administration. And government can take all radical decisions, but radical decisions demand radical implementation also. You are so much active and vocal in policy decision, but policy implementation cannot be neutral. Those who implement policy, they should dedicate themselves, they should commit themselves. If government has taken Manrega, so as we were telling, that you don't have to be told that you generate job. Manrega can be implemented only when you generate job. And generation of job demands that you should be active in its implementation. Same thing about midday meal program, you can say Atmanirbhar Bharat or Swachh Bharat mission, any such program and scheme you see, say that program and scheme cannot be implemented effectively unless bureaucracy commits itself for its effective implementation. This, it cannot play a neutral role. The idea behind, we can consider that's the policy. So idea behind committed, let's say, bureaucracy means policy commitment was this. By Indira Gandhi, by any government, even present government would also like that bureaucracy should be policy committed. Once policy is made, it is your duty to implement it effectively. Unless you will show your complete involvement, you will not be able to be innovative. And unless you are innovative, schemes and programs cannot be implemented. This. So, let's see, government has program like Health for All or Ayushman Bharat, any such scheme. Same thing, let's say we have Right to Education Act or National Education Policy. So we do not need to have a policy also for policy commitment. This you should also know. Many a time problems you know, do you need a policy to commit yourself? Not necessarily. This, but suppose there is any such policy, so how, let's say you have to implement. So a district magistrate should take initiative. The many district magistrates have taken initiative themselves. All those district magistrates are, let's say, be it magistrate level you can talk, middle, higher level you can talk that. When, let's say, Jitendra Kumar Soni, and he has, let's say, improved the infrastructure in 300 schools, so does it result into violation of neutrality? No, it does not result into violation. It is a positive example. This, another civil servant makes a district hunger-free district. This, the hunger-free district, so again it does not make violation of neutrality. Another district magistrate makes the, let's say, plastic bag free district. This, he brings earthen made things and other type of, let's say, bags rather than plastic bags, let's say that, and completely in that district plastic bag is eliminated. This, another district, let's say Kanpur, whether it has district magistrate or let's say one IAS officer, in Kanpur area, she introduced metering system, power supply metering system. This citizen service, you can say. Fund your city program, Bangalore. Means you can give all individual examples, although it is not needed to give individual example. It is not GS paper to give example for each thing, right? Otherwise, it will result into GS type. So it is more conceptual. So what we say that if you are committing yourself to implement minimum government, maximum governance or Swachh Bharat mission, and that is how so you will be able to implement effectively, and that is how policy commitment. This you can say. But then the thin line, the other side, let's say this, let's say negative side. It's the negative side of doctrine of committed bureaucracy. The negative side of doctrine of committed bureaucracy. Doctrine of committed bureaucracy. Although it was introduced for policy commitment, but bureaucracy took otherwise. Bureaucracy took otherwise and understood to give political favor rather than policy commitment. Policy commitment. Policy commitment. At the same time, the government also forced civil servants. Government also forced civil servants to toe political line. To toe political line. Political line for the benefits of party interests. Toe political lines for the benefit of political interest, including misuse of bureaucracy during emergency. Including misuse of bureaucracy during emergency. Highlighted by Shah Commission. Highlighted by Shah Commission. And thereafter, successive governments at both union and state levels have not looked back. Civil servants have also tried to seek political favor. For personal benefits. Like promotion and appointment to important positions. Hence, it has become like give and take. It has become like give and take. Quid pro quo. Quid pro quo. Like some civil servants have resorted to activism to make government happy. this. See, examples are not again needed, although if you want, we can give examples. But GS पेपर में example का culture होता है, optional में नहीं होता है. This. Although let me tell that कि Sameer Wankhede, you know that. So, future career is ready. He can act in movies. Right. Name drug and substance abuse. Yes. No, KGF 3. So the question is, let's पता ही है क्या हुआ? Right. So you arrest a person. Yes. जिसके बच्चे को अरेस्ट किया गया, isn't it? पता ही है आपको. और हाई कोर्ट ने बेल दे दिया उसको. Yes. उसके बाद कुछ हुआ नहीं. हमारे यहाँ सिर्फ सारा खेल अरेस्ट होने तक होता है. मूवी का कल्मिनेशन पॉइंट होता है अरेस्ट होना. Yes. जस्टिस मिले या नहीं मिले उससे मतलब नहीं है. This. कोई ड्रग एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए ले रहा है, उसको जेल में भेज दोगे तो क्या करेगा? वो लौट के आएगा, दूसरी बार सेल करेगा वो. Isn't it? This. उसका चेन क्रिएट हो जाएगा, नेटवर्क. This. Anyhow, forget about this. Activism. He is addressing media, isn't it? And blah blah, let's say that की, और मीडिया वाले भी, this is what we'll find this. So that kind of activism we'll find. So there are some civil servants. वो क्या करते हैं पता ही है आपको. Right. All those civil servants who quit just before election to contest election from a political party, their neutrality can be doubted. And they may have taken some actions just before that to make the party they join happy, and at least notice him. This. जैसे कोई मर्डरर होता है तो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी उसको नोटिस करती है, तो उसको फिर प्रोटेक्ट करती है. This. After all, how come let's say you want to join? Do you think joining politics means only contesting elections? This is how politics has been reduced to. Do you have really interest in politics? You join after elections. Yes. कोई ज्वाइन करेगा? नहीं करेगा. That is how, let's say, we can consider. So, committed bureaucracy, this is giving favor. Different types of favor they give. Name we don't have to take. हालांकि वो time to time जो भी you know that कि CBI का अलग अलग नाम होता है. जिस गवर्नमेंट के टाइम जो पार्टी पावर में होती है उस पार्टी से उसको जोड़ सकते हैं आप. तो कभी इसको कांग्रेस ब्यूरो ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन बोला जाता था, अब आजकल वो कोई और भी ब्यूरो है इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए. जब किसी एक पार्टी के अंदर वो कांग्रेस ब्यूरो हो सकती है तो दूसरे पार्टी में क्यों नहीं होगा? इट इज क्वाइट कन्वीनियंट दिस. एंड दोज ऑफिसर्स हु गो एंड अरेस्ट दिस, तो क्या है? What they will do? So that is what we can consider. Let this happen. Let's try this. Okay. The positive connotation should be supported. The positive connotation should be supported. And the negative connotation should be rejected. That is politicization of bureaucracy. Politicization of bureaucracy is detrimental for not only administration but also for democracy. And no one supports politicization of bureaucracy. No one supports politicization of bureaucracy, including United Nations and Indian Prime Ministers. Mastermind Committee in UK, MASTER, Mastermind Committee in UK also stated a neutral bureaucracy was better than politicized bureaucracy. A neutral bureaucracy was better than politicized bureaucracy. Next, Paul Appleby concept. Paul Appleby concept. A subheading, Paul Appleby concept. He gave two types of concepts. One, policy neutrality, and second, program commitment. That is, bureaucracy should remain neutral in policy advice. Bureaucracy should remain neutral in policy advice. For example, all secretaries should give neutral advice to ministers. Based on merit. It will be up to ministers. Whether they accept their advice. Neutral advice is necessary. Neutral advice is essential for long-term policy perspective and sound policy making. Long-term policy perspective and sound policy making. Change paragraph. Program commitment, that is, once policy is made, bureaucracy should be committed to implement policy. Hence, he also supported doctrine of committed bureaucracy. This is how his view, right? See, policy is made, policy demands it should be neutral, otherwise you are a think tank. So when you are a think tank, you are not neutral, you know what will happen. You will not be able to give better policy advice. It is up to minister whether they accept the decision, they do not accept the decision, it is not your concern. But if you will not have neutrality, you will not give advice which is on long-term basis. That is how bureaucracy should give this advice. But once advice is given, policy is made, he also supports the idea of committed bureaucracy. Yes, that is what you can see. Then finally, let's way forward. Way forward. In bracket also, right? Significance of neutrality. Neutrality has a special significance Neutrality has a special significance for India as it faces vociferous tendencies, and is characterized by first three-tier democratic structure, next transitional nature of society, next huge diversity. That it faces challenges. At macro level through first LPG and crony capitalism. Next, nexus corruption. Next, at micro level, parochial and subject political culture. At micro level, parochial and subject political culture. In such scenario, if bureaucracy is not neutral, even democracy may not survive. All those democracies which face challenges, including electoral malpractices, like recent in Bangladesh, one can imagine the situation which may drift towards political and governance crisis. Like in last US elections, Trump initially refused to accept election results. Which gave rise to chaos. Although it was preempted, but if such chaos procrastinates, it would be difficult to maintain stability and order. Change paragraph. However, even if neutrality is important, Still, bureaucracy needs to be compassionate, proactive, democratic, and responsive to needs of situation, responsive to demands of situation. That is, it has to apply its own wisdom. And both demand following steps. First, a balanced polity type structure. Led by complementarity model of Swara. Next, ethical governance, in which politics is also committed to integrity and Raj Dharma. Next, autonomy and independence. To civil servants, so that they can balance neutrality and wisdom. Political and administrative reforms. What ARC second says, systemic reforms. Next, a new public service code. For building good character and improving probity and integrity in civil services. Next, an independent civil service commission. For posting, promotion and transfer. It has been argued that, change in paragraph, last. It has been argued that the present era is going through crisis in governability. Due to crony capitalism on the one hand, nexus and corruption on the other. In this context, neutrality has become even more important. important for stability, order, justice and harmony in society. That's it. So, कुछ समझ में आया? क्या समझ में आया? न्यूट्रलिटी जब इम्पोर्टेंट ही है तो इतना सारा डिस्कशन किस बात का है? Right. So basically, let's say crux is that neutrality is important. At the same time, you need to have also compassion. Yes, but we don't have any hard and fast rule for that. We have to know all those, whatever we have told, to understand and answer questions. Once a good question was, let's say that, I know tomorrow you have your plan, but today I have my plan. Right. कुछ नहीं, मतलब अगर नहीं समझ में आया तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. So, although we have not taught yet to take ethics, but this is how once they ask, distinguish between code of conduct and code of ethics. Justify your answer. Simple question. Once a question was, it is not, I am able to find it, I guess. Once a question was asked that ethics is antithesis, they used a term somewhere, antithetical or antithesis to neutrality. It is not mentioned here. Or question was, ethics is antithesis to neutrality. Right. I was merely following an order. ऐसा ही question था. Which year? 2019 in paper 1. Why it is not given? Yes? Yes. this question. So it is very good question basically. Some questions UPSC frames which are very innovative. That's why we show that. Not only to answer the question, but see the beauty of question. So the imperatives of administrative ethics are necessarily an antidote to I was only obeying the order. Argument by public officials. What do you mean by this? Are you able to understand?
Neutrality without compassion. Neutrality without compassion.
I was only obeying the order, means following the rules and regulations that were mandatory. But the ethics, if we bring the code of ethics or ethics in the person or administration, then it will be an antidote that he not only have to follow the rules but also look after values also.
So they'll have more problem-solving approach, and they'll be active, proactive in solving the problems of the people, rather than just saying that. And how we are moving from rule-based to role-based.
That they have to check whether they are. That they have to check whether they are doing the right thing.
You are trying to becoming what you can say, action oriented. Question is ethics oriented.
Not taking the moral responsibility of the action.
First, to explain this, the imperatives of administrative ethics are necessarily an antidote. What does it mean?
Second statement also
There are medicine.
first statement is stating about how to use our own wisdom.
Yes. And our own wisdom is antithesis to neutrality.
So it is talking about the blinded following orders, and we should be rational while delivering the orders, like rational.
This,
How
that,
ethics can over.
Shouldn't just focus and just blindly obey what the politicians are giving orders.
Right.
Should follow the
ठीक
code
है.
of ethics, not just.
What we will write first?
We'll explain about the code of ethics.
We'll explain code of ethics. Yes. What will explain in code of ethics?
Code of ethics helps the
Then first we write about the administration, like it is based on a maximum bureaucracy. Then what are the problems that involve due to the following of the order? Then how ethics can or the element of ethics can overcome it, sir, and it can work as an antidote to that problem.
So how code of ethics comes over code of conduct?
So neutrality is not maintained, that lead to bias dominance.
First we will use that argument to, like how administrators use that argument to escape the responsibility.
Then
Then we will say that ethics will help in like
taking responsibility.
no sir, like making them
ठीक है. You are understanding, but let's say that what we have to first write is we have to first write about ethics. Although ethics per se we have not taught, but you know it already. Code of conduct, code of ethics we have taught. Right. So first you should talk about morality in ethics. That statement we have used. Ethics demands application of mind. Ethics deals with, let's say, human conduct, and that human conduct is based on that individual. If an individual is ethical, it means the individual has understanding of morality and ethics, values. Ethics comes from within. Like say a sense of responsibility. So honesty, integrity, selflessness, जो भी पहले आपको उसमें ethics के बारे में लिखना पड़ेगा. Whenever they give any statement, generally first we explain the statement. So first to explain the statement, ethics is, what ethics is. Then you come to the second part. I was merely following the order. Explanation is related to concept of neutrality. That as per Max Weber concept of neutrality, a civil servant is expected to act as per superiors order, or what the law says. This. However, even if let's say neutrality can have its own relevance in the sense that a civil servant is expected to act as per superior's order or law, but saying that I was merely following order may become antithetical to ethics, because the order may be also unethical. Order can be unconstitutional. Order may destroy ethics. Order may be against public interest. And then you have to give any example. There you have to give example. Like say there is any commission of an offense. You find that the offense has been committed and someone is approaching to file FIR. The administrator is supposed to file FIR. And now a call comes from superior that no, do not file FIR. Or a call comes that you should just invoke this and that section rather than the right section. So that time the civil servant has to apply his or her wisdom. This. And can refute the superior order. There are situations where a civil servant is not going to act only per order. Rather, civil servant will also, let's say, apply his or her wisdom. This. And many a time order may be rejected. Or order may be requested to review. This. Otherwise, civil servant may not act in spirit of law, rather only in letter. That is, a civil servant is also expected to apply wisdom. At the same time, a civil servant is not supposed to only act as per order. Right. That is, even if order is right, but many a time order may not come. The second aspect of order. Always superiors may not give order, they may leave you to also your wisdom to act in a given situation. This. So when things are quite clear written on the wall, say civil servant must act. Like say they have to become proactive, they have to become innovative. Even if government has not given order to solve educational problem in your district, but a civil servant can become proactive and solve the educational problem. So saying merely acting as per order is an indifferent attitude rather than a right attitude by civil servant, which will not be considered appropriate in present context, even if neutrality as a concept is important. And that way you have to answer. So first time they try to ask linking ethics and neutrality. This. Right. Then neutrality will promote rule of law. One day they ask this question, how it is. I know you are hungry and tired, but koi baat nahi. Right. Kya hoga? How neutrality promotes rule of law? Yes, rightly told, someone is writing online, so it is. How neutrality will promote rule of law? Yes. Do you read newspaper? कौन सा? हिंदू. कब का? 1996. ठीक है, छोड़ देता हूँ, जाओ. ठीक, नेक्स्ट टाइम बात करेंगे, isn't it? बट अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला था कि मेंटेन रूल ऑफ लॉ दोनों केस में, मणिपुर इंसिडेंट एंड नो इंसिडेंट. दिस. तो अगर न्यूज़पेपर आप पढ़ते हो ना, तो आपको याद होना चाहिए. इसलिए हम लोग बोलते हैं कि नहीं पढ़ते न्यूज़पेपर, हम लोगों की तरफ से. दिस. Anyhow, basically when no incident happened in Haryana, so they wanted to bring another procession and they wanted to go to the temple in No, one section for worship. So government denied permission. They went to court. court told that ki no, let them go to temple, you maintain rule of law. This. So government maintained rule of law. They went to temple, किसी को पता नहीं चला. मतलब this, it went peacefully. Rule of law means neutral bureaucracy. Right. जब ब्यूरोक्रेसी न्यूट्रल होगी तभी रूल ऑफ लॉ होगा, नहीं तो रूल बाय लॉ होगा, रूल ऑफ लॉ होगा नहीं. क्यों? अब मान लो प्रोसेशन लेके जा रहे हैं और जो परमिसिबल नहीं है वो कर रहे हैं, तो ब्यूरोक्रेसी उनको मना करेगी. यू कैन नॉट डू दैट. तो दे हैड वीडियोग्राफ, सीसीटीवी कैमरा लगाया उन्होंने, वीडियोग्राफ किया, उनको ट्रेन किया कि आपको कैसे जाना है. एंड दे विल फॉलो. And if they will break law, they will be dealt as per law. This, अब यही normal time में when they will break law, they will not be dealt by law, because bureaucracy neutral नहीं है, act नहीं कर रही है. This is what we have to link, but it is related to law and order. We can link to other context also. This, another name of rule of law is neutrality. This you should understand. And Max Weber also talked about ethical neutrality, state neutrality. The state should remain neutral. This, when state will remain neutral, bureaucracy will remain neutral. This is how we can link it.